All right, I want to welcome the co-host of the RNL Revolution Nothing Less show, Sunsara Taylor, here on episode number 169, Sunsara.
I'm so glad to be here. So, Andy, we are just a few days away from a very special event, October 17th at the Hudson Theaters in Hollywood, California. We're going to be showing a special selection of the Bob Avakian interviews that we did here on this channel last fall. And if you do not have your ticket yet, if you're anywhere in the LA area or can get to the LA area, you need to get your ticket right away, save the date, come out and join us in the theater on the 17th. We're living in absolutely crazy, dangerous times. We face climate destruction. We face the very direct threat of all-out fascism being imposed in this country through the 2024 elections, if not sooner.
And we will make America great again. Thank you.
We face the escalating threat of nuclear war between the U.S. and Russia or China. And now we see this absolutely heartrending conflagration in Israel and Gaza, which is worsening by the day, with 2 million people in Gaza deprived of food, medicine, water, electricity, and way too many people on both sides lusting for bloodlust and revenge instead of revolution and real emancipation. Times like this demand a revolutionary answer. It is time to come together, in person, live, in the theater, to engage Bob Avakian, who's forged a way out of this madness, developed a new communism, a whole new framework for human emancipation, and brings it alive with heart and soul. So we want to invite you to come out.
We can no longer afford to allow these imperialists to dominate the world and to determine the destiny of humanity. They need to be overthrown as quickly as possible.
In these interviews, Bob Avakian brings alive the strategy for revolution, the science of how we understand and change the world. He brings alive the vision of the future that's possible, and he opens up in a way you've never seen him before, unless you've been watching our show, but you've never seen it on the big screen together with others like this. He bears his heart and his soul, and he opens up about what formed him, his hopes, and he struggles hard with the people who need to be part of this revolution, to break with all the ways this system has them beaten down, going along, turned against each other, despairing. And he struggles to lift their sights and win them to this revolution, and to be filled with the same scientific daring that he is.
Look, nobody wants to live the way these youth are being forced to live. Don't tell me you don't care, because I know different and I know better.
If you're a first-time viewer of the RNL Revolution Nothing Less show, you really need to be there on the 17th to see this special cut of the film, of the interviews that Bob Avakian did on this show. And if you're a regular viewer of the show, you need to be there too. You've seen segments of the interview. You've seen clips on this show over the last year, and maybe you've even watched all 3 of the interviews on our challenge, but none of that is the same as being in the room with other people in a darkened theater and experiencing Bob Avakian in that kind of setting. It can change you. Also, we're going to be interviewed, we being Sunsara Taylor and myself, the hosts of the show, by David Zeiger, a great documentary filmmaker who's made the films Sir No Sir, among others. And you're going to get a chance to hear him interview us and ask us questions about things that you have thought of and had yourself, and questions you haven't thought of. You're going to have a chance after the program is over of being in a cafe there and getting a chance to ask Sunsara and to ask myself and to ask each other all kinds of questions, and to have some important conversation. We're going to be building a community of people who are engaging Bob Avakian and considering and getting involved in creating a whole different world. And also, in having a chance to talk with Sunsara and myself and hear David interview us, it's going to reveal some different levels of what Bob Avakian gets into in these interviews. And I really believe that this is going to inspire you to really go deeply into them and see just how extraordinary these interviews are and what kind of leadership we have to make the change we so urgently need.
We're really excited to announce also on November 5th, up in Oakland, there'll be a big screen showing at the theater of the Bob Avakian interviews up there, maybe both of us, maybe just one of us will go up and be in the house for that event. And this needs to be going on across the country in major theaters and smaller venues and living rooms, classrooms, street corners, church basements. This needs to be people gathering. Like Andy said, it's different when you come together and watch Bob Avakian in these interviews together and get into it with others. You're changing yourself, you're lifting your sights, and you're seeing others change and possibilities open up. And this needs to become a pole of attraction and a pole of controversy in society. People need to be talking and saying, what, you haven't seen them yet? You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what's possible. Or, did you hear what he said about this or about that? We need people debating, because when you're debating, when you're getting into what Bob Avakian takes you through in these interviews, you're getting to know this extraordinary, really inspiring, hardcore revolutionary with a big heart, with incredible vision for the future. But you're also getting to know and you're debating the future of humanity. That's what he is bringing to you, and that's what he's fighting for. So this has to become a mass movement that we are kicking off. And when you come and you're in the house on the 17th, you're helping launch this with others. You're setting some momentum in motion on that. What we want to do today is share with you a few video messages from different people speaking from the heart about what they got from these interviews and why you need to be in the house, why you need to be part of watching them and spreading them. And we want to start with Arturo O'Farrell, who is a Grammy Award-winning Afro-Latin jazz musician, a wonderful human being, and he recorded this message.
This is a very, very scary time that we live in. Images are coming at us from all kinds of sources that tell us that the demonization of a people is the problem, that we're looking at people and we're confusing the terrible things that are happening with humanity. But it's not humanity that's at fault. It's the ruling class. It's the incredible greedy, selfish, gluttonous, predatory capitalists that are destroying life on Earth. Look outside your window. What is happening to the climate? Who are we demonizing to blame? We can't escape the fact that it is global capitalism that is destroying life. We must listen to Bob Avakian as he explains to us scientifically why these things are happening and how we can help be a part of a revolution that can change. If you really look at the world right now, we're on the verge of neo-fascism and the global capitalist predatory staging of a war on the poor. The war on the poor, who are predominantly black and brown. It's time to stand up, take our lives back, and demand that the change is real and permanent and that it's part of a revolution. You must see the Bob Avakian interviews on October 17th at the Hudson Theater and just check him out, man. It's not like the revolutionary you think who's screaming and yelling. And no, man, this guy's approachable. He's clear. He's direct. He speaks right to you. And he is very convincing about the truths that we must all hear, hard truths that we must all see, face, and realize. It's not getting better. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. Read the newspapers, watch the news shows, just keep track of things. They're lying to us on a daily basis, and it's horrifying. CNN, Fox, the same thing. It's the same thing. Red state, blue state, two-party system, no-party system. It's all about capitalism. It's all about the destruction of the working class. So please, we must fight this thing. We must educate ourselves. We must listen to Bob Avakian as he teaches us about these truths. October 17th at the Hudson Theaters, the Bob Avakian interviews. Don't blow it.
Sunsara, Arturo said, don't blow it.
I think he was talking to you, Andy.
Oh, I thought he was talking to you. Actually, he's talking to all of you. Don't blow it. You need to be there. And why is he saying that? He's picking up on the same point that you made at the beginning of the show. The situation is very serious out there. And it's important. He made this point that people need to listen to what Bob Avakian said. And he talked about how Bob Avakian is very direct and straightforward and has a scientific approach. And he was imploring you to be there. And we want to go to another one of these announcements for the Bob Avakian interviews, to Coco Das, who's a fiction writer, and she's a voice of conscience and brings that voice out into the streets and into her work.
Hi, this is Coco Das, and I'm here to tell you why you need to be at the Hudson theaters to watch the Bob Avakian interviews. You are being influenced every day in all kinds of ways by music, movies, newspaper headlines, and the acceptable ideologies that are presented to you through every institution in society, sometimes by brute force. You are being told lies to keep you loyal to a system that is driving humanity off a cliff. You are being led right now to accept the end of the world before you can even envision a better way of living. Aren't you tired of being told to not even dare to dream of a new world? We do not have to live this way. This is a scientific fact. But if you want to get free, if you want that future that is possible, you have to engage with Bob Avakian, the revolutionary leader who has the roadmap and the answers to how we get free. And why wouldn't you want to? Why would you want to remain chained to a system that has no use for you? And why wouldn't you want to hear the heart, the humor, the poetic spirit, and the seriousness with which Bob Avakian tackles the most existential questions keeping us up at night? Bob Avakian believes in you. He believes that you can break with all the bullshit we're indoctrinated with under this system that tells us all we can do is go for self, or get caught up in cancel culture, or bow down to some savior from above, whether it be God or the Democrats. BA believes that we can all transform ourselves and transform the world. No other leader, no other political thinker believes in our ability to become scientific thinkers, courageous leaders, and emancipators of all of humanity. And no other political leader wants this ferment, wants the debate, because that's what helps us get to the truth. So, bring your open mind and bring your questions. Don't let this system tell you that you shouldn't.
It's true what Coco said. You are being led. I like that. You are being led to accept the destruction of the world and humanity as we've known it. Andy, one of the things that a lot of people raise, we hear it all the time when we talk about revolution, is people say, well, that's never really going to happen.
Mm-hmm. We know many people don't see the possibility or even the desirability of revolution. But this isn't a reason not to come. Exactly the opposite. It's a big reason to be there. Because you really don't know what you are talking about. And you really can't know what's possible or not possible, or what is desirable or not desirable, until you've seriously engaged Bob Avakian. He has said, quote, fundamentally, people cannot imagine this because they are not approaching things with a scientific outlook and method. He's talking about the problems that people face here and around the world, and he's talking about the solution. What a revolution actually is, why nothing else or nothing less will deal with the existential crises we face and the way people are forced to live. And he gets into the liberating vision of the society we're fighting to bring into being as concentrated and expressed in the Constitution for a new socialist republic in North America that he wrote. Look, we know that you have questions and doubts. But once again, that's the reason why you need to be at the Hudson theaters on the 17th. With the state of the world now, to not come to hear a leader who has answers, to come be part of a movement of people who see the way out of the madness and have the plan to get there, to not even be in that room and engage that, is to be accommodating yourself, and ultimately to be complicit with the horrific direction society has taken. Now listen to how David Zeiger, who's going to be interviewing Sunsara and myself, speaks to people who are skeptical and where he goes with this and how he challenges you to come to this event.
Hi, I'm David Zeiger. I am a documentary filmmaker. I made the film Sir No Sir, and I'm going to be moderating the program, the question and answer after hearing the interview with Bob Avakian on the 17th. And I want to speak just for a minute here to my fellow skeptics. You know, maybe you hate capitalism. You know that capitalism is really the source of all of the ills that we're facing in the world, especially climate change. I know there's a lot of folks out there that at least have some real understanding or some beginning understanding that capitalism is the problem. But can anything be done about it? Can we do anything other than elections? After all, revolutions have been tried in the past, and ultimately, at least for what it looks like now, they have turned into something that you wouldn't want to live in. But you know that you've got to do something. You know that this world is in very big danger. Well, I'd like you to bring all of that skepticism with you and come hear what Bob Avakian has to say. This is not just a matter of someone else's opinion. This is someone who, from a position deep in his heart of hatred for what this society, what this country, what this system has done to humanity in the world, has fought over and over again to find the new ways to approach the question of revolution. Can it happen in this country? Bring those questions with you and pay close attention to what Bob Avakian has to say. You're not going to regret it. I think you're going to learn a lot, and it may change your life, and I hope it does. See you there.
David says, come and really hear Bob Avakian. And what he says might change you, and I hope it does. And we've had that experience when people have come together to watch these interviews and to then get into them together with others. Recently, we had a very profound experience with this in Chicago. It was written up at revcom.us.
Yeah, the Chicago Revolution Club sponsored a showing of the two segments of two questions and answers from the film in the south side of Chicago, and they had a really interesting and good turnout from people from the neighborhood and other people from the city. And we're going to play some of the responses to this program and a short little video they made. But first, I do want to read something written by one of the leaders of the Chicago Revolution Club, and listen to what she says. Quote, "Fiery emotions filled the hearts and eyes of the people. Having experienced firsthand B.A.'s heart and soul, his hardcore and unmatched revolutionary leadership, and his scientific and unwavering determination to emancipate humanity. Deeply touched and impacted by B.A.'s humanity and fierce struggle, a cascade of anguish and anger was unleashed among the people, and the discussions that followed were characterized by passionate engagement, encouraging compassion, and ideological struggle," end quote. I heard from others who were present in that room that it was the way people testified, how they were changed in that room, that people were just moved. It was like just an incredible experience. It was very, very intense. So look, we're in the final days before this first screening of this movement of viewings of the Bob Avakian interviews on our show. And a fight needs to be waged right now by everybody watching the show. First of all, if you're in Los Angeles, to get here yourself, and by everybody else to call the people, as Sunsara said, that you know here in LA, and tell them to come there, and to pay attention to this, and to begin organizing showings in your area. So with that, I want to play the compilation that was put together of responses from Chicago.
I was glad and invited to attend this wonderful event tonight.
What I thought about the Bob Avakian interview was I thought it was pretty interesting. The initial clip from BA, I thought it was a very powerful message.
These youth coming up, they have no future. And that's because of the workings of this system. And there is a burning down there. It may be simmering. It may be just a flickering flame, but there is a burning for something better. And it is up to us to provide the vehicle and the means for all these masses of people in this situation, including these youth, to become part of fighting for something better.
I do believe that Revolution Club needs to focus efforts on the youth.
We're not going to do it without a lot of struggle. You got to break through the surface. You got to break through the bullshit. You got to break through even the hardcore shit to get down to where people really live and feel. And then you got to struggle with them about what your life should really be all about.
I do believe that there needs to be more eyes set on BA and these interviews that he's conducting.
What BA is basically saying is that we have to come together in a revolution, and what he's saying to the youth is take this seriously because, yes, these fascists are really organizing and they're coming together to try to stop those like all of us that they don't like. So let's band together, let's fight for this revolution, because the one thing that they are afraid of, us people of color, us Native Americans, Hispanics, blacks, whites, and even us gay folk, all come together as a collective for a revolution to fight this bullshit system.
So Andy and I had a lot of fun. We actually haven't quite finished going through the full 5.5 hours of the Bob Avakian interviews and making a selection. It's been very deep in revisiting and going into them. And we put together an edit that we'll show on the 17th and people will use around the country. But we get to revisit the scope of what Bob Avakian gets into. He challenges us to look at the real threat, the existential danger to humanity's future of nuclear war that is looming.
All this ridiculous stuff, people sticking their heads down or, I stay in my own lane. You think if there's a nuclear war, it won't touch your lane?
He speaks about the really dire situation confronting black and brown youth in this country.
The mass shooting of black people, Latinos, and Native Americans by police is way bigger than any individual. You have to think in big terms about how are we going to deal with these big problems that are way bigger than any individual.
And then he struggles with these same youth to get out of what they're into and lift their sights to and join the revolution.
There's this whole notion that, if you aren't fucking over somebody else, you're weak. The choices are not being the fucker or being fucked over. The choices are being enslaved or emancipated.
He talks about the need for the poetic spirit if you're going to lead a revolution. He talks about the importance of Shakespeare and art and poetry.
The kind of world we're aiming for is not one where that kind of beauty is discounted or, suppressed, but one where the human being's need for that is given much fuller expression.
And he shares his own experiences coming up, high school experiences, formative experiences.
I consider one of the great things about Berkeley was that it only has one public high school. And so when you go to that public high school, you're thrown together with everybody.
He talks about working closely with the Black Panther Party and their revolutionary days. He shares a lot of things that are quite funny, very deep, and a lot of hopes for the future. Including why revolution is more possible now. So this is it's a full 360 you get in these interviews, and we get to go through them all, and we're really excited to share a special selection with you on the 17th. Once again, we're going to put on the screen how you get your tickets, where you need to be, and wherever you are in the country, be part of organizing the screenings and gatherings.
Look, we're out to change the world, and launching this movement, as you said before, of people watching this interview, people who think that whatever else they think about the whole project, they think that people need the whole project of revolution while they're making their mind up about that they think that people should see this interview. You heard testimonials from a few people tonight. There's more of those testimonials on our website. It matters. And what's going to be different about this experience is that we're going to be there and you're going to get a chance to hear David Zeiger ask us questions. As I said earlier, questions you have and questions you haven't even thought of. And then we're going to have some time afterwards to socialize and to take your questions. So you need to be there. I do want to just tap down that in Oakland, California, on Sunday, November 5th at 12:30 p.m., that's on a Sunday at the New Parkway Theater in Oakland, we're going to have a screening of this film as a benefit for the Revolution Club in the Bay Area. So, Sunsara, we want to wrap this up with one last public service announcement about these interviews.
You must see the Bob Avakian interviews on October 17th at the Hudson Theater and just check him out, man.
Bring your open mind and bring your questions. Don't let the system tell you that you shouldn't.
To see the video, to engage with other people in a nice theater with talkback from Sunsara Taylor and Andy Z will be an opportunity not to miss. So you need to come.
You're not going to regret it. I think you're going to learn a lot, and it may change your life, and I hope it does. See you there.
So look, this is worth your Tuesday evening. Buy your tickets today.
October 17th at the Hudson Theaters, the Bob Avakian interviews. Don't blow it.